When love becomes a prison, the hard truths we must face. Modern Stoic. Love. We've all been sold the dream, right? The fairy tale where love conquers all and saves us from the chaos of life. It's the ultimate fix, the golden ticket to happiness. But what if that dream is a lie? What if love isn't the hero we've been led to believe it is? Let me drop some hard truth. Love can become a prison. Yep, you heard me right. We've been taught to think that love is the answer to everything. But what if it's the trap? You've probably found yourself in a relationship where you gave your heart away, only to realize you were stuck, losing pieces of yourself along the way. Not every I love you means freedom. Sometimes, it's just a slick way to make you forget your own worth. Not everyone who says they love you has your best interest at heart. In fact, some might just want to exploit your kindness for their own gain. So, let's get real for a second. Love can be messy, manipulative, and yes, even toxic. We've all been there, and it's time to face it. As Epictetus, the ancient Stoic philosopher, put it, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And guess what? That includes love. True love should set you free, not lock you up in a cage of dependency and confusion. So what's the takeaway? Love is a wild ride, but don't let it drive you off a cliff. Be aware of the chains that can come with it. And remember, sometimes, the best thing you can do for yourself is to break free and take control of your own happiness. Love is supposed to make you stronger, not weaker. Let's stop romanticizing the stuff that keeps us stuck and start embracing the love that helps us soar. 1. Love, a sacrifice or an invisible debt? That's the question we must face. Love is often portrayed as this beautiful thing, about sacrifice, loyalty, and endless trust. But here's the harsh truth. Gentlemen, sometimes you pour everything into someone. And what do you get in return? Emptiness. Nothing but silence, coldness, and indifference. Imagine investing your entire being, your heart, your time, your soul, into someone, and they barely notice, let alone appreciate it. That is one of the worst feelings you can experience. It's like caring for a delicate flower, tending to it every day. But instead of blooming in gratitude, it withers away, unresponsive to all your efforts. That's the essence of love, turning into a debt you didn't sign up for, a transaction that never balances. The modern Stoic knows the value of healthy, mutual relationships. But what do you do when love becomes this endless cycle of giving, with nothing to show for it? The sad reality is that too many of us, whether due to hope or naivety, keep giving without ever demanding anything in return. You must ask yourself, are you really in love, or are you caught in a one-sided arrangement, where your needs are ignored and your feelings become just another forgotten burden? The Blessing of Stoicism teaches us to approach love with clear eyes. Don't get trapped in the illusion that all sacrifice is noble, or that love must always hurt. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is step back and see that love isn't supposed to feel like a prison. Love should be a bond, a partnership, not a debt you're chained to. The old Stoic would say that the only love worth giving is one where both hearts grow together, nurtured by mutual respect and understanding. Don't sacrifice yourself endlessly without recognizing when it's time to stop. If you're constantly giving and never receiving, the price is higher than you think. Love shouldn't make you feel like you're trapped in a never-ending cycle of giving with no escape. You must learn to spot when love becomes a prison. That's when you need to step back, reflect, and remember that love, in its truest form, should always bring freedom and growth, not despair. In the end, you're not just a provider or a fixer. You're a man worthy of being loved as well. You must learn the art of balance, as the modern Stoic would teach to give but not to lose yourself. The Blessing of Stoicism reminds us that true love brings peace and harmony, not a constant sense of debt and sacrifice. 2. Promises, a commitment or an escape. Love, for all its beauty and power, often serves as the backdrop to a common yet perplexing question: what happens when promises become nothing more than comforting lies? We've all heard it, those sweet nothings whispered into the ears of the ones we care about. I will love you forever. You are everything to me. We will build a happy future together. But here's the question no one really asks. Why is it that these promises often crumble when life challenges us? We want to believe in these declarations. We want to believe that love is enough, that the bond we share is so strong that no challenge can break it. But the reality is that promises, especially in love, can become the easiest form of escape. They're comforting words that temporarily soothe our insecurities and fears, but they don't actually confront the hard truths we must face. Here's the cold, hard truth. Promises are only as strong as the actions that back them up. If those actions are missing, if the promise isn't followed by real commitment, then you're left with nothing but words in the air, ready to be swept away the moment the storm hits. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do. You must understand this. Love is not just a series of sweet promises. It's about the consistency of your actions, your resolve, your choices, and when your promises are empty, they become a cage, not a foundation. In Stoic philosophy, the idea of commitment is central to personal growth. The Blessing of Stoicism teaches us that our word is our bond. When we commit, we must follow through. It's not enough to speak. One must act. The Stoic lessons are clear. We don't rely on promises that are easy to make and hard to keep. We act according to virtue, not emotion. Think about it. When promises are made out of fear of disappointment or guilt, they become nothing more than an escape, an attempt to avoid the discomfort of truth. I will love you forever sounds good in theory, but love isn't about eternity. It's about showing up today, tomorrow, and every day after that. The power of action. Actions are the bedrock of any relationship. Without them, love becomes a fragile illusion, crumbling with every challenge it faces. Don't make the mistake of confusing words with real commitment. You must be the promise you make. It's not enough to say, I'll change, or I'll do better. Show it. That is the essence of true love. Promises without action are hollow and transient. They will vanish as quickly as they appeared when life gets tough. The Stoic way teaches us that we cannot rely on fleeting emotions or impulsive promises. Instead, we must live with intention, following through on our commitments, regardless of how difficult it may be. The true Stoic doesn't promise forever. They promise today, and in that promise, they find stability. We all face hardship. Relationships are no exception. But instead of running from it or avoiding the tough conversations, you must confront them with courage and responsibility. Don't just promise that things will get better. Make them better through your actions, your resolve, and your commitment. The Stoic approach to love is a simple one. Don't let your promises be your escape. Let them be your foundation. In a world that thrives on empty words, be the person who shows up with actions that speak louder than promises. Don't be the one who swears undying love but fails to back it up with real change. The blessing of Stoicism is in knowing that actions, not words, define us. Be that person who understands that promises are not mere words, but solemn vows to act with integrity, truth and purpose. Facing the reality. The reality is harsh promises are not enough. You must back them up with unwavering action, in relationships, as in life. The Stoic path demands we take responsibility for our words and deeds. It's not about what we say in the heat of the moment. It's about what we do when the pressure is on. So, the next time you make a promise, don't make it just because it feels good in the moment. Make it because you are prepared to back it up. Don't escape into words. Commit with your actions, and only then will you know what true love is. Remember this: love, like all things in life, requires consistency, commitment, and courage. The Stoic lessons remind us that we can't rely on fleeting promises. We must act with intention, and in doing so, we find true fulfillment, not in the empty air of promises, but in the solid ground of genuine action. 3. When love becomes blind. Love, at times, becomes a prison we build for ourselves. When we surrender too much to it, we lose ourselves. We become blind, trapped in a cycle of emotional chaos that clouds our judgment. Think about it. How many times have you loved someone so deeply that you ignored their flaws, their actions, or the way they treated you? Love can make you overlook betrayal, disrespect, and toxic behavior. This isn't romanticism, it's a dangerous form of blindness. You think you're moving forward, but you're not. You're walking in circles. Just like a man lost in a dark room, convinced he's making progress while all along he's retreating. This is the harsh reality. Love, when misunderstood or misdirected, is not always the answer. Stoic principles teach us that we must remain grounded in rational thinking. Love isn't just about emotions, it's about clear-sighted choices, and it's about facing the truth, no matter how painful. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. You must be vigilant and self-aware, because in the end, your happiness depends on the choices you make, not the illusions you allow yourself to believe. In today's world, love often masks the truth. It convinces you to stay in toxic relationships, to hold on to something that isn't serving you. The Stoic life demands that you control your emotions, not the other way around. Love should never be a prison. Love should be liberating, freeing you to become the best version of yourself. A Stoic doesn't allow love to cloud their judgment. Instead, they approach relationships with the same discipline and clarity they apply to every other aspect of life. Do not allow yourself to be a prisoner to your emotions. Recognize that true love is about respect, trust, and mutual growth, not about surrendering to a fantasy. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same principle applies to love. True love doesn't require you to give everything up, to lose yourself. It requires you to stay grounded, to stay true to your values, and to be mindful of your choices. Your self-respect and your integrity must never be sacrificed at the altar of love. Love, when lived with Stoic principles, will empower you, not bind you. You must never let love blind you. See the truth, face it, and act accordingly. The power to break free is within you. Step into that power. Live the Stoic life. You are the master of your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately, your destiny. The moment you understand this, you free yourself from the prison of love, and you enter a life of purpose, clarity, and strength. If you find this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I choose to see clearly in love and make wise decisions. This affirmation empowers you to take control of your choices and stay aware, even when emotions cloud your judgment. 4. Loyalty, a gift or a pair of handcuffs. Loyalty is often praised as one of the most noble qualities a person can possess. It's a bond that ties us to others, a promise to stand by them through thick and thin. But here's the hard truth that many of us, especially as we grow older, don't want to face. Loyalty, when misplaced, can become a prison. It's easy to get trapped in the cycle of giving your all to someone who doesn't even value you. The reality is, you might find yourself sacrificing everything, your time, your energy, your soul, to someone who doesn't respect or appreciate what you bring to the table. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you've ever been in a relationship where you've poured your heart out, only to realize you're the only one putting in the effort. Your loyalty, once a beautiful, selfless act, starts to feel like a heavy burden. You begin to lose yourself, don't you? It's like putting your heart and soul into a relationship, only to watch it crumble because the other person isn't invested. In those moments, loyalty stops being a virtue. It becomes an unpaid debt, a debt you can't escape. It's like trying to push a bicycle up a hill alone. No matter how hard you try, that bike will never reach the top. Without the other person's support, you're left struggling, trapped in a cycle of effort with no reward. Now, here's where the wisdom of the modern Stoic comes into play. The Blessing of Stoicism teaches us that true loyalty isn't about sacrificing your happiness for someone else's comfort. It's about knowing when to stand your ground, to walk away when loyalty becomes an excuse for self-sabotage. Don't waste your life in a relationship that drains you, that keeps you shackled to a partner who doesn't show the same respect or commitment. You must know your worth, recognize when your loyalty is being taken for granted, and have the courage to let go. Because here's the thing, being loyal to someone who doesn't deserve it is like being loyal to a lie. It keeps you stuck in a loop of unfulfilled promises and unmet expectations. A true old Stoic would tell you that your peace of mind, your personal growth, and your happiness are the true measures of loyalty, not your ability to endure endless sacrifice. Loyalty and love should be treated fairly, like a mutual exchange, not a one-sided burden. When your loyalty starts feeling like an unpaid debt, it's time to stop. You must have the strength to set yourself free, to stop investing in something that isn't growing. That's the hard truth that the modern Stoic knows, that loyalty, while a beautiful trait, should never trap you in a relationship that doesn't serve you. It should be a choice, not a prison. 5. Silence, a cruel weapon in love. Silence can be one of the most insidious weapons in the arsenal of love. It's not the peaceful kind that allows you to relax or reflect, but a silence that cuts deep, leaving scars that aren't easily healed. The silence I'm talking about isn't the quiet you find in moments of solitude or reflection. No. It's the silence that makes you feel abandoned, betrayed, and alone in your deepest struggles. It's the kind of silence that hits when you're drowning in pain, desperately needing comfort. But all you get is the deafening void of their absence. In those moments, it feels as though you've been forgotten, discarded like yesterday's news. You begin to question your worth. But here's the cold truth. Silence in love is never peaceful. It's denial. It's avoidance. It's their way of dodging the uncomfortable truths of the relationship. Don't mistake it for tranquility. It's not a sign of calmness or understanding. Instead, it's a deliberate decision to shut down, to pretend the problem doesn't exist, to make the pain you're feeling seem unworthy of attention. That kind of silence is a denial of your voice, a way to dismiss your feelings and make you feel invisible. And here's where Stoicism can be a game changer. The blessing of Stoicism lies in its ability to help you confront difficult situations, including emotional neglect, without letting them destroy your peace. Stoic lessons teach you how to endure hardship, how to face uncomfortable truths, and how to gain strength in the face of adversity. But more importantly, Stoicism teaches us not to rely on external circumstances or the behavior of others to define our emotional well-being. When love becomes a prison, silence becomes its most dangerous tool. When you are faced with the deafening silence in a relationship, you must not let it control you. Don't let the absence of words strip away your sense of self-worth. Be strong in your resolve. You must recognize that silence doesn't reflect your value. It reflects their fear or unwillingness to face the truth. You are not invisible, nor unimportant. The key is to own your emotions, not to let them be dictated by the silence you receive. Silence can be their way of invalidating your feelings. That is a toxic move. It's an emotional dismissal that makes you feel like your experiences don't matter. But you must not accept that. You must not let silence be the final word in your relationships. It is your responsibility to communicate, to express your needs, and to demand respect. If someone is silent when you need them the most, then it is time for you to step into your own power and stand firm. Embrace the Stoic lessons. Don't wait for someone else's validation to feel worthy of love and attention. Stoicism teaches you to embrace what you can control, the way you respond to situations, the way you protect your emotional space. The moment you begin to rely on your own strength, the moment you stop waiting for others to change, is the moment you break free from the prison that silence tries to create. You must become the calm amidst the storm. At times, silence will be used to manipulate. It's a tool for avoidance, a way to keep you from confronting the real issues. Be clear on this. Silence is not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for someone else's unwillingness to communicate. Stoicism doesn't just ask you to endure, it calls for you to rise above, to master your emotions and not let them rule you. In the face of silence, stand tall, be resilient. Let the blessing of Stoicism guide you, for it teaches you to be unaffected by the storms that others create. Love should not be a prison. You deserve more than silence. You deserve honesty, transparency, and respect. And when those things are withheld, it is time to confront the reality that you can still thrive without waiting for someone else to show you the way. Silence in love isn't peace, it's a weapon. When love turns cold, it can feel like the very silence you face is a prison of its own making. Don't let silence control you. Break free from the chains of denial and find your voice. If you agree, drop a comment right now. I refuse to let silence define me. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, true peace comes from speaking up, not staying silent. 6. Money and love, a dangerous relationship. Don't let the value of your love be determined by the size of your bank account. Too often, relationships are built on a shaky foundation, where love is measured by the material things you provide. There are those who will love you not for who you truly are, but for what they can get from you. And that is not love. That is manipulation. It's exploitation disguised as affection. When love becomes a transaction, it's no longer real. You become a mere tool, a means to fulfill someone's material desires. And that's a hard truth you must face. It's not just disrespectful, it's the greatest betrayal of your trust. Remember, true love has nothing to do with wealth. It is about the connection you share, the bond that transcends money, gifts, and status. The ancient Stoic principles remind us of this. They teach us that we must not allow external things, like wealth, to define our inner peace or our worth. The Stoic life is about building relationships based on respect, honesty, and emotional depth, not material gain. If your love is only conditional, built on the illusion of wealth, you must reevaluate everything. You must ask yourself if the relationship is authentic, or if you are being used for your resources. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So don't allow the thoughts of money and materialism to corrupt your understanding of love. True affection comes from the heart, not the wallet. Don't be fooled into believing that your worth is tied to what you can buy. Stand strong. Don't settle for love that's conditional. Embrace love that's unconditional, founded on the Stoic ideals of wisdom, self-control, and virtue. When you master these principles, you will know the difference between love based on genuine emotion and love based on material exploitation. You must realize this now before it's too late. When love becomes a prison, it traps you in a cycle of never-ending pursuit of wealth and external validation. It's time to break free. The Stoic principles are your key to breaking these chains. Let go of any relationship that evaluates your worth based on what you provide materially. Recognize that true love is about emotional depth, shared values, and respect. Don't confuse the fleeting pleasure of materialism with the lasting satisfaction of real emotional connection. In a world obsessed with money, you must remain steadfast. You must rise above the temptation to seek approval from material wealth. As Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Live by that. Understand that real love doesn't come with a price tag. In today's world, with consumerism and instant gratification running rampant, you must be strong. Don't let the world fool you. The Stoic life teaches us that we are in control of our own happiness, and no amount of money or material wealth can substitute for a love that is genuine, unconditional, and free from exploitation. Now is the time to master your emotions. Take control of your relationships and demand the respect you deserve. That is what a true Stoic does. Make no mistake, love should never be about what you can give. It's about who you are and the deep, meaningful connections you create. That's the foundation of a fulfilling life. Let the Stoic principles guide you, and never let love become a prison. 7. People who never apologize. Love without humility. Love can be a beautiful, liberating force, but when it's devoid of humility, it can quickly turn into a prison. One of the hardest truths we must face is that some people never apologize. They live in a world where their ego reigns supreme, where admitting mistakes is a sign of weakness. But here's the kicker in a relationship. Love without humility is a ticking time bomb. If you can't apologize, if you can't see your own faults and be vulnerable enough to admit them, how can you ever grow together? Love, at its core, requires an acknowledgement of the other person's feelings, and that starts with humility. If you never apologize, you build a wall, brick by brick, between you and your partner. And that wall doesn't just block communication, it erodes trust. It's a sad reality, but those who refuse to apologize leave a trail of hurt, even when they're clearly in the wrong. The damage isn't instant, but it's like a slow poison, eating away at the foundation of the relationship over time. You've probably been there, a trivial argument with your partner, where the tension lingers, thick in the air. You apologize, hoping to restore peace, but instead of a softening heart, you're met with silence or, worse, a shift of blame back onto you. In that moment, you might feel like a child, forced to apologize for something you didn't even do. It's humiliating, isn't it? That's silence. The refusal to acknowledge any wrong becomes a silent killer of your self-esteem. You begin to question yourself, wondering if you've lost your sense of value in the relationship. But let's get this clear, love is not about who's right and who's wrong. It's not a battle of egos. It's about understanding, learning, and most importantly, forgiving. If no one in the relationship is willing to humble themselves and apologize, then what kind of foundation are you building? A relationship without humility is like a house of cards, fragile, unstable, and destined to collapse. This brings us to a powerful lesson that resonates deeply with the modern Stoic. True strength, the kind that doesn't crumble under the weight of pride, lies in the ability to humble yourself and admit your mistakes. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The Blessing of Stoicism teaches us that emotional resilience isn't about being unshakable in the face of adversity. It's about the willingness to learn from your errors and grow from them. The old Stoic philosophers knew this well. They understood that the path to peace, whether in love or life, is paved with humility. Stoicism isn't about clinging to the idea of always being right. It's about having the courage to say, "I was wrong," and using that as an opportunity for growth. This is the kind of humility that builds lasting relationships. Relationships aren't about being perfect. They're about being real, vulnerable, and humble enough to say, "I messed up." So next time you find yourself in the middle of a conflict, remember, if you can't apologize, you're not only hurting your relationship, you're locking yourself in a prison of pride. Be the person who opens the door with the key of humility, because without it, love cannot survive. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us. Or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. 8. Competing in love when love becomes a battle. You know what's one of the hardest things to deal with in a relationship when you start feeling like you're not a partner anymore, but a competitor? It's a feeling that can slowly creep in until you realize love is no longer about connection. It's become a constant battle to outdo each other. And that, my friends, is when love stops being love and starts being something altogether different. Something far more toxic. Let's be clear. Love is not a competition, but when you feel like you're always fighting to prove your worth, or constantly trying to one-up your partner in everything you do, something's off. That feeling of competition isn't just exhausting, it's suffocating. Imagine this: you share a huge accomplishment, like a promotion or a personal win, and instead of the cheers and the pride you're hoping for, all you hear is "Oh, you're lucky you have time for your dreams. I could have done that too." Suddenly, your success feels like a threat, not something worth celebrating. You're left feeling deflated, unappreciated, and like you're being compared to your partner in a way that strips away the joy of your achievements. You don't get to feel proud of your own journey, because it becomes a battleground where you have to prove your value over and over again. This rivalry, it's not limited to career milestones. Oh no, it seeps into everything. The emotional exchanges, the quality time, the attention you give each other. When someone's constantly feeling threatened by your success, whether it's in your personal life or work, you start to feel the weight of the competition everywhere you turn. And here's the harsh truth: this isn't love. Real love, the kind that builds and strengthens, doesn't pit you against each other. It's not about keeping score or measuring who's winning or losing. No. True love is about both of you growing together, cheering each other on, lifting each other up when times get tough. Love isn't about who gets the last word or who gets the most praise. It's about supporting each other through the highs and lows and truly celebrating the other person's victories. You see, the blessing of Stoicism lies in understanding this truth. Life will always have its ups and downs, but how you respond, how you choose to be, is what matters. Stoic lessons teach us that our value isn't determined by comparing ourselves to others. It's rooted in our actions, our principles, and how we remain true to ourselves, no matter the external circumstances. So when rivalry creeps into love, remember it's a choice to either feed that fire or let it burn out. You must choose to rise above, choose to support instead of compete. If your relationship feels like a battleground, it's time to rethink things. Are you two partners in growth, or are you just rivals trying to win at all costs? If you're constantly measuring who's ahead, who's better, or who's doing more, you're both missing the point. You must be on the same team, striving for mutual success and happiness, not in a race against each other. So don't let love become a war zone. That is not love. True love allows you to grow without fear of being overshadowed. It allows you to celebrate each other, knowing that both of your successes are shared. When you can support each other without insecurity, when you can celebrate one another's wins without feeling threatened, that's the kind of love that truly builds. In the end, love is about more than competing for affection or approval. It's about recognizing each other's strengths and weaknesses and loving each other all the more for them. And this is where Stoicism plays its part. By practicing the Stoic lessons of acceptance, resilience, and perspective, you learn to focus on what truly matters, the growth of both you and your partner, together. Don't fall into the trap of making love a battle. Be the person who lifts up, not tears down. Be the partner who celebrates. Be the one who fosters growth and connection, not rivalry. 9. Never lose yourself when love makes you someone else. In life, you must never lose yourself, especially in the name of love. If a relationship is causing you to morph into someone you don't recognize, it's not love, it's a prison. You can't afford to let love strip away your individuality. A true partner will see you for who you are, supporting and encouraging your growth, not turning you into a shadow of their own desires. Never forget the principles of a Stoic life. You must remain anchored in your true self. Love should build you up, not mold you into something you're not. If you're constantly changing your core to please someone else, then you're walking away from your own identity. True love allows you to be exactly who you are, unapologetically. It nurtures your strengths, amplifies your individuality, and challenges you to grow, but without forcing you to compromise your essence. Remember, to thine own self be true. Shakespeare understood that. If someone constantly pressures you to abandon your passions, style, or hobbies, they are not truly loving you. They're trying to control you. Imagine how painful it is to lose the freedom of doing what you love because you've prioritized someone else's needs over your own. That's not love. It's manipulation. The Stoic principles demand that you stay grounded, true to your purpose, and never give up your autonomy. Don't allow love to be an excuse for losing yourself. You must stand firm. You must hold your ground. If love is forcing you to abandon who you are, then it is not love. It is something far darker, and you must break free from it. Hey there, thanks for sticking with me until the end. Here's the thing, love isn't always the fairy tale we dream about. Sometimes it's messy and challenging, but that's where we grow the most. So, if love is draining you or making you feel like you're losing yourself, it's time to reflect. Don't forget that loving yourself comes first. Only when you truly value and protect your own heart can you show up in relationships in a way that's healthy, balanced, and genuine. Keep this in mind. Love should empower you, not break you down. Walk in love, but do so with wisdom. That's the secret to building lasting happiness. Take care of yourself, and remember, you deserve love that makes you stronger. And hey, if this message resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below with your thoughts. I'd love to hear how you navigate love in your life. Stay tuned for more content to help you grow stronger every day.